Listen up, you donkey. Did you know that nearly 40% of all food in the US gets chucked in the bloody bin? That's right, wasted. And you know what? A big chunk of that is because of clueless refrigeration. We're about to dive into 21 common foods you should stop refrigerating. Storing these ingredients right isn't just about saving some quid, it's about experiencing their full flavor potential. Unlock textures and tastes you didn't even know existed. Ready to ditch the fridge and become a culinary genius? Let's go! First on the chopping block, tomatoes. Now some of you Muppets think you're being all fancy by keeping them in the fridge, but let me tell you that's a one-way ticket to flavorless mush. The cold air in there stops the ripening process dead in its tracks, meaning you're left with a bland, mealy mess. And don't even get me started on the texture. Keep those beauties at room temperature, out of direct sunlight, and they'll ripen up beautifully, bursting with juicy sweet flavor. Potatoes, the workhorse of the kitchen, deserve better than a cold, damp prison. Stick them in the fridge and you'll turn those lovely starches into sugar faster than you can say jacket potato. The result? A grainy texture and an unpleasantly sweet taste that's about as appealing as a burnt pan. Store them in a cool, dark and well-ventilated place like a pantry or cupboard, and they'll stay firm, flavorful and ready for action. Onions, those pungent little devils, need to breathe. You stick them in the fridge where it's damp and humid. They go soft, moldy, and about as appetizing as a week-old dishcloth. Keep them in a cool, dry place with good air circulation. And for God's sake, don't store them with potatoes. They release gases that'll make them both spoil faster. Chapter 4. Garlic. Don't ruin a good thing. Garlic, the backbone of countless dishes, needs a little tough love. Refrigeration makes those pungent cloves sprout and turn rubbery. Store your garlic in a cool, dry place with good ventilation. They'll stay potent and ready to add a punch of flavor to your next dish. Chapter 5. Bread. Stale is a swear word. Bread, the king of carbs, deserves better than a slow death in your fridge. Refrigeration speeds up staling, turning your baguette into a flavorless brick. Keep it at room temperature, wrap tight, and enjoy it fresh. For longer storage, the freezer is your friend. Chapter 6. Honey. Crystallization is not contamination. Honey, nature's liquid gold, is practically immortal. It can last for centuries without going bad. So why freeze it in the fridge? Refrigeration makes it crystallize and harden. Keep it sealed at room temperature for smooth, delicious honey. Crystallized honey is safe, just warm it to return to liquid. Chapter 7. Coffee. Keep it fresh, not fragrant. Coffee, the elixir of life, deserves respect. So why put it in the fridge? The cold, damp environment makes beans stale and robs them of aroma. Store in an airtight container at room temperature. Enjoy a rich, flavorful cup every time. Chapter 8. Avocados. Patience, my friend. Avocados, those creamy, dreamy fruits, need time to ripen to perfection. But stick them in the fridge and you're essentially hitting the pause button on that process. The cold temperature slows down the ripening process, leaving you with a hard, flavorless avocado that's about as appealing as a plate of overcooked vegetables. Keep your avocados at room temperature and they'll ripen up beautifully, with creamy flesh and a rich, nutty flavor. Bananas. Black is not beautiful. Bananas, those potassium-packed powerhouses, are notorious for their short shelf life. But you know what speeds up that process even faster? That's right, you guessed it, the fridge. The cold temperature damages the cell walls, causing those unsightly black spots to appear and ruining the texture. Keep your bananas at room temperature, out of direct sunlight, and they'll stay yellow and delicious for longer. And if they do start to brown, don't chuck them out. Banana bread, anyone? Melons, those juicy summer treats, are best enjoyed at room temperature. Refrigeration can actually dull their sweetness and make their texture mealy. Keep them on the counter until they're ripe and ready to eat, then store any leftovers in the fridge for a short time, but honestly, who has leftover melon? Apples, those crunchy, refreshing snacks, lose their signature crispness in the fridge. The cold air breaks down the cell walls, leaving them soft and mealy. Keep them in a cool, dark place, like a fruit bowl or pantry, and they'll stay crisp and delicious for weeks. And if you want to keep them even longer, try storing them in the fridge's crisper drawer, but only for a short time. Stone fruits like peaches, plums, and nectarines are best enjoyed at their peak ripeness. But here's the kicker: they shouldn't be stored in the fridge until they're fully ripe. Refrigerating them too early can prevent them from reaching their full flavor potential. So let them ripen on the counter, and then store them in the fridge to extend their shelf life. Berries, those delicate little gems, are highly perishable and should be treated with care. The fridge's humid environment can make them moldy and mushy, so it's best to keep them at room temperature and eat them as soon as possible. If you must store them, pat them dry, spread them out in a single layer on a paper towel-lined container, and store them in the fridge's crisper drawer for a short time. Citrus fruits, like oranges, lemons, and limes, are bursting with flavor and vitamin C. But that flavor can fade quickly if you store them in the fridge. The cold temperature can damage the essential oils in their skin, making them less fragrant and flavorful. Keep them at room temperature, away from direct sunlight, and they'll stay juicy and delicious for longer. Cucumbers, those cool and refreshing vegetables, are best enjoyed crisp and crunchy. But the fridge can turn them into soggy, waterlogged messes. The cold temperature damages their cell walls, causing them to lose their texture and flavor. Keep them at room temperature, and they'll stay firm and delicious for your salads and snacks. Peppers, whether sweet or spicy, add a vibrant crunch to any dish, but that crunch can be compromised by storing them in the fridge. The cold temperature can make them wrinkle and lose their texture. Keep them at room temperature, and they'll stay firm and flavorful for your stir-fries, fajitas, and more. Basil, the king of herbs, is best enjoyed fresh. Refrigeration can cause its delicate leaves to wilt and turn black, ruining its flavor and aroma. Instead, treat it like a bouquet of flowers. Trim the stems and place it in a glass of water on your counter, away from direct sunlight. Olive oil, the heart-healthy fat, should never see the inside of your fridge. Refrigeration can cause it to solidify and become cloudy, altering its texture and making it difficult to pour. Keep it in a cool, dark place, away from heat and light, and it will stay smooth, flavorful, and ready to drizzle over your favorite dishes. Hot sauce, the fiery condiment that adds a kick to any dish, doesn't need to be refrigerated. Most hot sauces contain vinegar and other preservatives that keep them shelf-stable at room temperature. Refrigeration can actually dull their flavor and make them less vibrant. Keep your hot sauce collection in a cool, dark place, and they'll be ready to add some heat to your next meal. Peanut butter, the beloved nutty spread, can become hard and difficult to spread if you store it in the fridge. The cold temperature causes the oils to separate and solidify, making it a nightmare to get an even layer on your toast. Keep your peanut butter at room temperature, and it will stay smooth, creamy, and ready to satisfy your cravings. Chocolate, the ultimate indulgence, deserves to be treated with care. Refrigeration can cause something called bloom, which is a white film that forms on the surface of the chocolate when the sugar crystals rise to the top. While bloom doesn't affect the taste, it can make your chocolate look less appealing. Keep your chocolate in a cool, dry place, away from direct sunlight and heat, and it will stay smooth, glossy, and ready to melt in your mouth. There you have it, you lot. 21 common foods you've probably been refrigerating wrong this whole time. Remember, proper storage isn't just about preventing spoilage, it's about maximizing flavor and getting the most out of your ingredients. Now I want to hear from you. What are some of your biggest food storage wins and fails? Share your stories in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more kitchen tips and tricks that will make you a culinary rock star.